say a few words, and not going to be kind words, about Callum. Here's the best man, Scott Middleton.
Well, I'm pretty sure I might be tears during this speech, but it's not going to be the kind we've seen so far. I think it's going to be a different kind of emotion, but I'll try and go easy on you, Callum. Good afternoon, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Scott, Callum's best man. For those of you who do know me, well, I can only apologise. I'll start by saying I realise my accent might be a bit strange to most of you, so I will try to speak in my poshest voice. But if I lose you, please just laugh at any uncomfortable silences. Just help me out there, would you? I think there's two reasons why I believe this honour has been bestowed upon me. The first is revenge, as I don't think Callum has ever forgiven me for making him my best man. He said making a speech ruined the day for him, and I must say the feeling was mutual. So, 9 years later, the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, dragging me away from my family, including my month-old daughter, Kirsty, I think it's safe to say mission accomplished. I think the second reason I've been chosen is I don't see Callum as much as, well, I saw it as much as I would like recently, you know. He's living a good bit away, but I think that's one of the reasons. He's hoping that I don't know any of the more strange stories from his recent past. So, you know, I can't use his more recent antics in his speech, e.g. the time when he first went to London to make his fortune and had a Chinese takeaway. Callum, I believe you know what I'm referring to? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Or the time last summer when, as us Scots do, he slightly overindulged at the free bar at a work function and tried to impersonate Rocky Balboa. Or the time last year he helped Uncle Ron stoke his stove, I believe. I'm not sure what that means, but I think he knows what we're talking about. Okay. So before I go any further, I think it's only fair that before I lose you totally with offensive stories, and that I thank the bridesmaids. I think they all agree they look lovely today, they're doing a great job. And also the flower girls, that was really nice today, seeing them brought in. Sarah and I really enjoyed that, was nice. So. And I think Brandon looks amazing, very smart in his kilt. Especially with the ski and do, I think that set it off nicely. I'm glad it's a plastic one, that's all I'm saying. In fact, today I think the only person to outshine them is Barbie, who I think you'll all agree looks absolutely stunning. Now, on behalf of the lovely couple, I'd like to thank everyone for coming today, especially those who have travelled long distances to be here. I believe there's quite a large contingent, like myself, from Scotland. Could you raise your hands, anyone from Scotland, please? It really is amazing what lengths we'll go to for a free meal. It's unbelievable. Now, I've known Callum for around 30 years. In this time we've had some good laughs with plenty of stories, but it was very difficult to remember any that were suitable to mention today. Going back to our school years at Newfoundland in primary school, despite being a year older than him, I knew Callum to be a star of his class. That's to say, quite distant, not too bright, and rarely seen during the day. Despite the obvious advantage he had by having his dad as the headmaster or the dominie. And I remember vividly Ian being asked one time what he thought Callum would be when he left school. He pondered for a long moment and replied, "About 26. I've always respected Callum, and he perhaps was the main influence in my choice of job, a firefighter in Aberdeen, because being friends with Callum when we were young meant you always had to be prepared to deal with unexpected accidents, mishaps or emergencies. Like when Callum's mum Irene tried to shut a door in the house but could not get it to close properly, and so pushed harder, unable to think why the door wouldn't close. Then wondering why the door started whimpering, then screaming, until she realised Callum's fingers were acting as a very effective doorstop. Or the time Irene tried to finish the finger removal in the car door in a very similar fashion. There was a time he was climbing a tree in his garden pretending to be Spider-Man and accidentally used the hood of his jacket as his web, which left him dangling, turning blue, and I had to hold him up until help arrived to unhook the hood. Or the other time, he was watching some older boys practice the shot put, got too close and invented a new sport called head the shot put. I believe you still hold the world record for that, Callum, at 5 centimetres. There's a time when he had to be taken down off the ski slopes at Glenshee in Scotland on a school trip. As being the poser that we all know that he is, he ignored the advice to wear his woolly hat and was on the verge of hypothermia. But the episode which sticks in my mind the most was when we were playing on the swings at school, seeing who could jump the furthest, swing the highest and jump the furthest. Unfortunately, when I jumped off, I accidentally used Callum as a landing pad. There was a long silence, followed by a strange animal-like whining. Callum held up his hand and showed me his dislocated thumb. Now, I'm quite ashamed to admit this, but my first, second and third thoughts were, how do I get out of this? I didn't think anyone would believe it was an accident, and as I already mentioned, Ian, Callum's dad, was the head teacher, and he possessed a pretty fearsome belt for punishing unruly pupils, which I believe he still has, strictly for recreational use. That's right, isn't it, Tyree? So, as Callum moaned and cried that he needed urgent medical attention, or at least a teacher, I convinced him that I had seen a similar injury on TV. And the recognised cure was being held under cold running water. So I smuggled him back into school and began the treatment. Eventually though, Callum's pitiful cries, you've heard them here today, drove me to pass him on to slightly more qualified hands. So as you can see, it really is a miracle that Callum is here today. Another reason it's a miracle he's here today was his penchant for, as a little boy, or well, a young man really, with little or no encouragement for dressing up as nurses and bunny girls, etc. So how we've got to this stage today, I really don't know. One of the things myself and Carl like doing, talking about, speaking about, is football or soccer, depending where you're from. Both supporting and playing. Unfortunately, we never agree about who supports the best team. Whether it was when he supported Morton or more recently Dundee United. But once again, the league standings don't lie. And as a wise man once said, we've taken our team into Europe. Yes we have, oh yes we have. Now, we've played in the same team on many occasions, and I have witnessed the commitment he shows on the park, with his violent, reckless tackles, constant swearing and arguing with opponents, teammates and referees. Yes, those primary school games were very, very committed. I've also been the manager of a few teams Callum has played in, and faced a problem Barbie will now have to come to terms with. No matter what position I tried him in, he was at best average. So, good luck, Barbie. We're getting to the end, Colin, we're getting there. Now, back in Scotland at this point in the speech, the best man brings up the groom's past love life and attempts to embarrass and humiliate him in front of his new family. I, however, am not going to do that. It's not because I'm too good a friend or don't want to make him uncomfortable. There's nothing I would like to do more. But I'm only here in Newfoundland until Wednesday, so if I started now, I'd maybe only cover June till August 1992. The hotel has other functions to hold, so sorry, I'll just have to leave it there. Now, when Callum phoned me and asked Laura, that's my wife, and myself to meet Barbie, I was nervous. I'd met some of Callum's girlfriends in the past. Sometimes more than one in the same evening. But I was pleasantly surprised. She was charming, polite, funny, pretty and generous. It just goes to show, it's true what they say, opposites attract. Sorry, I'm a bit of a flap now. That's a big bite. Bear with me, I'm almost done, Colin, I'm almost done. All remains now is I can propose a toast. Here's to love, laughter, and happily ever after. As Callum and Barbie start their new life, please stand and toast the new husband and wife. To the new Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, Callum and Barbie. Cheers. Right, that's me done. I'll let back to the emotions now.